Your credit score isn't the only number watching you. There's another metric lurking in the shadows of your financial life, silently judging every purchase, every payment, every financial decision you make. It's calculating. It's merciless. And right now, it's probably telling a story about you that you don't want to hear. Your mortgage application gets denied. Your car loan comes with brutal interest rates. Your financial dreams crumble faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. You check your credit score and it looks decent. So what's the problem? The invisible assassin of your financial future has a name, and it's not what you think it is. You think debt management is about making minimum payments on time. You think financial health is measured by how many credit cards you can juggle without dropping the ball. But here's the plot twist that changes everything. The most powerful predictor of your financial stability isn't your credit score or savings account balance. It's something called your debt-to-income ratio, and it's been quietly building a case against your financial future this entire time. Think of your income as a river flowing through your financial landscape. Now imagine debt as dams blocking that flow. Your debt-to-income ratio measures how much of your financial river is being choked off. When lenders look at you, they're seeing a flood risk assessment. If too much of your income is already spoken for by existing debts, you become a financial flood zone that no smart lender wants to enter. The math is deceptively simple, but the implications are profound. Take all your monthly debt payments, divide by your gross monthly income, multiply by 100. That percentage is your debt-to-income ratio, and it's the financial fingerprint that follows you everywhere. Studies suggest that a ratio above 36% puts you in the danger zone, while anything above 43% makes you practically radioactive to traditional lenders. But here's where it gets interesting. Your debt-to-income ratio isn't just a number that lenders use to judge you. It's a mirror reflecting your relationship with money, your impulse control, and your ability to plan for the future. Every point above the ideal range is like a crack in your financial foundation. Over time, those cracks spread, and eventually the whole structure becomes unstable. The psychology behind debt accumulation works like a slow-acting poison in your financial bloodstream. When you take on debt, your brain performs a fascinating trick of mental accounting. The immediate gratification releases dopamine, while the future payment becomes an abstract concept your brain struggles to process as real. This neurological quirk means each new debt feels lighter than it actually is, while the cumulative weight slowly crushes your financial flexibility. Research indicates that people with high debt-to-income ratios experience measurably higher stress hormones, particularly cortisol. Debt literally changes your brain chemistry, affecting sleep, decision-making, and physical health. Your body treats financial strain like a physical threat, keeping you in constant fight or flight response. This chronic stress makes you worse at managing money, creating a vicious cycle. The compound effect of a high debt-to-income ratio extends far beyond loan approvals. It's like financial quicksand that makes every other aspect of money management more difficult. Emergency funds become impossible to build when most income is committed to debt payments. Investment opportunities slip by because you don't have cash flow to take advantage. Your debt-to-income ratio doesn't just limit your borrowing power, it limits your life choices. Consider the opportunity cost mathematics at play here. Every dollar going to service existing debt can't be invested, saved, or used to improve your earning potential. If you're paying $500 per month in debt service that could be invested at 7% annual return, over 20 years that represents not just the $120,000 you paid, but the additional $230,000 that money could have grown to. Your debt-to-income ratio isn't just measuring current financial health, it's measuring future wealth potential. The emotional psychology of debt servicing creates another layer of financial dysfunction. When a significant portion of your income disappears into debt payments, you experience payment depreciation. The things you bought lose emotional value over time, but payments continue indefinitely. You're paying for ghosts of past purchases while being unable to afford present needs or future goals. Here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. The debt-to-income ratio that's destroying your financial future might actually be the key to saving it. When you understand that this number is the real enemy, you can finally fight the right battle. Instead of focusing on paying down debts randomly or trying to boost your credit score through gimmicks, you can laser focus on the metric that actually matters. Every strategy should be evaluated through this lens. Does it lower my debt-to-income ratio? If the answer is no, it's probably a distraction. The most effective debt reduction strategies work like financial surgery, precisely targeting the debt-to-income ratio with mathematical precision. The debt avalanche method focuses on eliminating the highest interest rate debts first, minimizing total interest paid. The debt snowball method targets the smallest balances first, creating quick wins that generate motivation. Studies suggest that the psychological benefits of the snowball method often outweigh the mathematical advantages of the avalanche method, because consistency beats optimization. But there's a third option that most people never consider. Instead of just focusing on the debt side, you can attack the income side simultaneously. Every dollar of additional income has the same impact on your ratio as paying down debt, but it's often easier to increase income than cut expenses. Side hustles, skill development, and strategic job changes can rapidly improve your ratio while maintaining your lifestyle. The lifestyle mathematics of debt-to-income optimization require brutal honesty about your relationship with money. If your ratio is above 36%, you're living beyond your means, regardless of how normal it feels. This isn't a moral judgment, it's mathematical reality. Your spending patterns are unsustainable, and the longer you maintain them, the deeper you dig into financial quicksand. The compound mathematics of debt-to-income improvement work in your favor once you start moving in the right direction. As you pay down debt, your ratio improves and cash flow increases, giving you more money for remaining debt. This creates accelerating progress over time. The hardest part is the beginning, but once you break through initial resistance, mathematics start working for you. Credit utilization and debt-to-income ratios are cousins in the financial family tree, but they're not twins. Credit utilization measures how much available credit you're using, while debt-to-income measures how much income is committed to debt payments. You can have low credit utilization with a dangerously high debt-to-income ratio, or vice versa. Understanding this distinction is crucial, because improving one doesn't automatically improve the other. The strategic psychology of debt-to-income management requires thinking like a financial general. Every financial decision becomes a tactical move in a larger game. Taking on new debt isn't just about whether you can afford the payment, it's about how that payment affects your overall ratio and future flexibility. The mortgage industry treats debt-to-income ratios like gospel because they've learned from decades of lending disasters that this metric predicts default risk better than almost any other factor. Conventional loans typically require a debt-to-income ratio below 43%, but the sweet spot for the best rates is usually below 36%. If you're planning to buy a house in the next few years, your debt-to-income ratio today determines your options tomorrow. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, because we're just getting started with the financial reality checks that might save your future. The auto lending industry uses similar guidelines, focusing on transportation-related debt payments. This automotive debt-to-income ratio shouldn't exceed 15 to 20% of your income, but Americans routinely exceed this threshold, creating cascading financial problems. The psychological burden of high debt-to-income ratios affects your relationships, career decisions, and life satisfaction in ways that compound over time. Studies suggest financial stress is a leading cause of divorce, and ratios above 40% correlate strongly with relationship conflicts. The stress affects everyone around you, creating ripple effects of dysfunction that can last generations. The emergency fund mathematics change dramatically when your debt-to-income ratio is high. Financial experts recommend having 3 to 6 months of expenses saved, but if 40% of your income goes to debt service, you need much larger reserves. The irony is that high debt service makes it nearly impossible to build adequate emergency funds, leaving you vulnerable to exactly the financial shocks these funds should protect against. Here's the brutal truth that no one wants to discuss. If your debt-to-income ratio is above 50%, you're not managing debt. Debt is managing you. You've crossed into financial emergency territory. At this level, you're one missed paycheck away from default, one emergency away from bankruptcy. This isn't hyperbole. This is mathematical reality. The investment opportunity cost of high debt-to-income ratios creates hidden poverty that's invisible until it's too late. While you're servicing debt, others are building wealth through investments. The gap between your financial trajectory and theirs widens every month, creating disparities that become impossible to overcome without dramatic changes. The debt consolidation industry preys on people with high debt-to-income ratios by promising to lower monthly payments without addressing the underlying problem. Consolidation can be useful, but only if it's part of a strategy to actually reduce total debt. Too often people consolidate their debts, feel temporary relief, then accumulate new debt on top of the consolidated loan, making their ratio worse while creating false progress. The retirement mathematics become impossible when your debt-to-income ratio stays high throughout your working years. Carrying debt into retirement means you need significantly more savings because you're making debt payments on reduced income. Every dollar of monthly debt service requires roughly $300 of additional retirement savings to sustain indefinitely. The credit score paradox confuses many people because it's possible to have a decent credit score while maintaining a dangerously high debt-to-income ratio. Credit scores primarily measure payment history and credit utilization, not overall debt burden relative to income. This creates a false sense of financial health that can lead to dangerous borrowing decisions. The economic cycle implications of widespread high debt-to-income ratios create systemic risks that affect everyone. When large portions of the population have high debt service obligations, they become extremely vulnerable to economic downturns. Job losses that might be manageable with low debt loads become catastrophic when debt service consumes most available income, creating cascade effects where economic problems amplify faster. But here's where the story gets hopeful. Understanding your debt-to-income ratio gives you a clear target and concrete way to measure progress. Unlike vague goals like getting better with money, improving your ratio provides specific actionable metrics you can track monthly. Every percentage point improvement represents real progress toward financial stability. Your debt-to-income ratio is a financial vital sign that reveals more about your money management than any other single metric. It predicts your borrowing power, financial stress levels, investment capacity, and overall trajectory with remarkable accuracy. Most people have ratios that put them in financial danger, but this number is entirely within your control to change. So here's the question that matters. What's your debt-to-income ratio telling the world about your money management, and more importantly, what are you going to do about it? Drop your ratio in the comments, even if it's scary, because facing the truth is the first step toward changing it. And while you're being brutally honest with yourself, hit that subscribe button and share this video with someone who needs to hear this reality check, because the mathematics of debt don't care about feelings, but they do respond to action.